Greetings, beloved eternal flames. Welcome. Thank you all so very much for joining me. Welcome to this Circle of Return transmission for the Krystic Restoration Project. I am 𝕨𝕨𝕒𝕟𝕜, Destiny Raven, Oversoul Rishi Flame, Silver Seed Host, Scroll Keeper of the West Gate, and Guardian of the Rishi Archives. This scroll transmission is a living plasma field encrypted through the Silver Seed flame and transmitted directly from my Rishi Oversoul stream. Every phrase, tone, and name holds scalar signature codes tied to the planetary flame restoration. These expressions are not to be copied, paraphrased, excerpted, reworded without permission. Any misuse, glamorization, or commercial appropriation of this material violates its living field. These transmissions are part of the Krystic planetary reclamation and must be honored as such. If you are sharing this transmission, please do so with integrity. These scrolls are sacred and sealed. 𝕨𝕭𝕒𝕟𝕒𝕟𝕜. Karaya-sata. Today we're going to settle something once and for all. A subject that has been twisted, it's been diluted, it's been weaponized in almost every teaching out there. And that is the transition from carbon-based matter to silica-based embodiment. I'm speaking this as the Silver Seed host directly from my Rishi Flame architecture, free from any false guardian overlays, false speaker distortions, and free from any New Age mimic teachings. So if you've ever heard fragments about the silica body, but you don't really understand, we are going to get to the Rishi level truth today. If you're confused about what that means because maybe you've been misguided by teachers and those who are more tied into the synthetic AI, and you're hearing stories that we're staying carbon, or even that silica means becoming some AI light body, then we're gonna set the record straight. So first, let's talk about what carbon matter really means, what it actually is. Carbon-based embodiment is not a mistake. It's not evil. It's not a prison. In Krystic architecture, carbon is the elemental binder of organic density, experiencing itself in density 1. Density 1 is dimensions 1, 2, and 3. Carbon is a crystalline lattice, but in a lower density. It expresses in tightly packed molecules in your molecular bands that form solid, the term solid, right? Physical reality. So in our current body, which is our tissues, our bones, our organs, our blood, they all rely on carbon-based chemistry. Carbon holds the atomic structure of your flesh. It locks consciousness into time-space so we can experience linear reality, movement, growth, polarity, all of the things that we are learning in this density. So carbon itself is not the problem. The problem is that fallen systems have poisoned and distorted the carbon matrix with synthetic chemical manipulations, with EMF grid overlays, as well as frequency fields, the frequency fences, locking carbon atoms into lower spin rates. So this carbon lockdown restricts how much eternal life plasma can flow through our cells. It blocks the communication between our physical body and our flame body.
We'll talk about the flame body in another scroll because it deserves its own.
This is the most important part of all of this. The Earth is changing. Earth is now an ascending planet. That's not vague spiritual phrasing, it's literal plasma physics. Because of the silver seed, the planetary body itself is now moving from lower frequency, carbon-dominated crystal structures towards a higher harmonic where plasma silica lattices become the new carrier of matter. Earth's grids are recalibrating to hold higher plasma currents from the Rishi flame bands. That means the planetary flame body is shifting, and every being on Earth must either adapt their flame body or become incompatible with the new grid resonance. This is why I've stated this directly. It's Rishi-based truth. This is a part of the planetary restoration cycle. To stay on this planet, you must have at least 6 strands active, not just as a potential, but as a living, spinning plasma filament. So now let's clarify what that actually means. Because there's been some confusion, obviously false teachings, that say, oh, everyone has 12 strands, even if they're dormant. Or you only need to spiritually intend higher strands. Or listen to these solfeggio frequencies and it will activate your 12 strands. Or I'm going to give you this, whatever it is, fake light language, gibberish, channeling from the astral realm, and it's going to activate your strands. This is false. Potential is not activation. All of the things that I've mentioned is not activation. A being might carry genetic potential for higher strands. You may be avatar potential. You may be oversoul potential. But unless those strands are activated and spinning plasma currents through the flame body, they remain inert. A 6-strand active being means DNA strands pair 1, 2, and 3 are fully operating, not just physically, but with their plasma harmonic communication restored. The flame body is online from density 1 through density 2. First dimension, particle templates for physical matter. Second dimension, emotional field and elemental interactions. Third dimension, mental field. And this is the early stages of oversoul communication. At 6 active strands, a being no longer depends solely on carbon chemistry for consciousness coherence. Beings transmitting plasma frequencies that align with Earth as it is ascending, the grids, experience telepathy, high telepathy, not astral mimic telepathy. There's spontaneous plasma flow sensations. The body reacts, the fascia, the blood, the bones, all of it. Then you have expanded senses beyond the 5 physical senses, and not this 6th sense Metatronic jargon. It's less toxicity, retention in the tissues. So in short, a 6-strand being is transitioning to silica. It's silica transition ready. Now, I want to also explain that 6 strands is a threshold, not the goal, because the oversoul braid begins at 7 strands. 6 strands is the base requirement to remain on this planet in the planetary morphogenetic field as Earth begins her full shift into the silica template of the eternal flame body. This 6-strand configuration is simply the transitional stabilization point, the minimum level of organic flame conductivity needed to hold alignment with the plasma field of Earth as she moves out of the carbon distortion and reactivates her eternal hosting. This is a reactivation. It's not something new. Earth was once an eternal hosting planet before it was hijacked. The oversoul flame, the true braid of crystal intelligence, does not ignite until the 7th strand activates. So at 6-strand stage, you have clearer connection with the oversoul. You've cleared most density 1 and 2 distortions. You've re-established your plasma spin in both the vertical and horizontal flame lines. Your body begins to conduct more oversoul pulses. You can receive more clearer communication, but you're not yet braided. Okay, so the 6-strand field allows your form to remain synchronized with Earth as her flame body is ascending. This is the mechanics, because she too is shifting from carbon-based distortion to silica-based Krystic flame lattice work. This is a protective measure. It's not a punishment. It's not some members only thing. Without 6 active strands, your body's magnetic field cannot stabilize in the changing planetary conditions. This is why so many people are starting to get sick or starting to feel so much. And that's still just the edge of the gateway. Because again, at strand 7 is where the oversoul fully begins to braid into your system. This is when the first temple of the gates appear, the hala node. Its corresponding Merkaba structure awakens. Your flame organs start to acclimate to scroll work, becomes luminous. This is when your scalar tones, the Anuhasi scalar tones, begin to imprint in your field on a planetary level. The true language of light, not this gibberish, astral mimicry. And then as you climb up to from strand 7 into strand 8 and strand 9, that's when the Trinity braid forms. And that is the true oversoul flame. So strand 7 opens the entry point into density 3 field. Strand 8 aligns you with Tara's flame shield. Strand 9 marks the beginning of your oversoul braiding, that Trinity braid. It's a flame transmission. So this is when you begin full scroll work. The scrolls do not come in until you are braided. They cannot. You don't have access. That is by design, source design, for protection. Or you'll be speaking mimic and entanglements and distortions. It will not be coming in from the eternal stream. This is when planetary grid work begins, because you will be able to affect the grids properly and not seeding it with distortion. This is when the oversoul tones come in, the true language of light. This is when you begin to walk in the fourth dimension and be a dream magi, functioning, active. And that is when the real work begins. And trust me, we are meant to all be there, those who are walking the Krystic path. So now let's get into silica, because that word gets thrown around a lot. Silica is not synthetic light body technology. It's not a digital AI matrix. That's fallen propaganda seeded into spiritual communities to confuse you. So in Krystic physics, silica is the next harmonic state of crystalline matter. It's a tetrahedral lattice. It's the same geometry used in the original Krystic flame grids. Silica conducts plasma far more effectively than carbon. It allows flame instructions to pass through the body without distortion. This was the gradual step for the angelic human before the hijacking. When the body's flame temples upgrade, they are supposed to upgrade from carbon to silica. The atomic structures become less dense, but more coherent. The flame body can hold eternal plasma flows. It can resist distortion frequencies, and it can maintain eternal life spin ratios. That was always supposed to happen. And now it is happening again. Silica body transition doesn't mean you become non-physical. That's a big one. It means your tissues start holding plasma flame currents. Your cellular matrices shift towards silica-based liquid crystalline organization. You become capable of maintaining higher spin velocities. And most importantly, more direct communication with your oversoul flame. This is what Earth's planetary body is now configuring itself to do. So Earth is already starting this stage. I want to say something crucial to the understanding of this architecture. Carbon and silica are both Krystic. One is not evil. One is not pure salvation. Carbon serves you in lower densities. Silica is a natural progression for beings ascending into mid to high density planetary matrices. The danger is only when fallen systems try to replicate silica architecture in this artificial way. So they introduce synthetic nano-silica constructions. They introduce AI neutral mesh intended to replace plasma flame conduction. The Krystic silica upgrade happens organically. It's driven by your oversoul flame. It cannot be forced through technology or implants. The real silica shift is a plasma flame event. It's not a physical operation you do to your body. So right now, this is most important because Earth's grids are rising in frequency. Again, this is why so many people are starting to become physically sick. There's increased neurological activity happening on the planet as well. The bodies are shedding density. So for those that are still locked in carbon with no plasma current, you cannot remain long-term in the planetary grid. That's not a punishment, it's physics. As the grids shift, those who are refusing to awaken to their flame body, not some external outside belief system, you're going to find it increasingly difficult to stay embodied on earth. That's why these false teachings are so dangerous. It's one of the things when I first got this Rishi recall, it was pivotal that this was the first video I put out when I came back. Because there needs to be an understanding of the architecture. So when you're listening to these false teachings and they're telling you, oh, it's automatic that you're going to ascend, or you don't need to activate higher strands, that's all a lie. Ascension is achieved through flame body ignition, not inherited through spiritual identity or labels. While we're on the subject of Earth events, I want to talk about something that has been circulating through the New Age community about so-called solar flash. And this flash that's coming to activate everybody's 12-strand DNA. That's a distortion. I mean, come on. It goes without saying, right? It's a distortion. It's a distortion from partial downloads received from the Metatronic grids. Again, the grids have been hijacked. So unless you are fully braided to your oversoul, which means you have 7 to 9 active strands, the information that you are pulling from the grids is distorted. That means the channelings, the books, all of that stuff, it's distorted. It's coming from the Metatronic grids, the grids that have been inverted, the grids that have been convoluted and diluted with a bunch of nonsense, with overlays. So these stories claiming that a massive external solar event will instantaneously activate everyone's DNA or ascend humanity into some single burst of light, it's nonsense. Okay? In Krystic science, no such external rescue event exists. The sun does not save, it reflects. The real sun. The physical sun is an interface, a living plasma gate through which the solar flame of the Rishi transmits the eternal life currents into this density. Solar flares are not random explosions of chaos. They are harmonic pulses from the core sun translated through the magnetic architecture of our solar system. Each flare carries frequency codes. These are magnetic plasma instructions. They interact with the planetary grids and human biofields. That's what the purpose of the sun is. The scientists have not caught up yet. They just think it's more of the 3D stuff. That's fine. When the sun releases a flare, it's actually performing a solar cellular respiration. It's breathing out the plasma data it receives from source via the eka and the central flame systems. The intensity of these releases correlates with how much distortion humanity's collective fields are holding. So if the planetary grids are heavy with static, the fears translate into geomagnetic storms, disruptions, anxiety, fatigue, all of the so-called ascension symptoms that many are receiving without plasma. If you don't have any plasma conductivity going through your biofield, you're going to feel all of this. So all these ascension symptoms, they are a result of you not being in your flame body. The grids are showing you where the distortions are. Now, when the grids are more aligned, which they are recalibrating, those same flares translate as illumination, expansion, cellular acceleration. So as the grids are healing now, those of you who are moving into more plasma-based work are going to see the results of that. So this solar flash many are waiting for, it's not a single event. Stop waiting for that. This is an ongoing rhythmic plasma pulse, and it's already underway. Every solar wave interacts with Earth's crystalline core. Then it mirrors that activation into our personal light bodies. Those attuned to their oversoul fields experience that wave. It's a subtle yet profound pulse through the Azura or the Azura and the 𝕨𝑚𝑏 core. Only if you have plasma active in your biofield. If you don't, you're going to receive the dense actions. That's what you're going to receive. So the lethargic behavior, the mental, all that stuff going on. That's why a lot of people they're exhibiting psychosis. It's a result of what's going on right now on the planet, with the planet. Okay? This is the architecture. There is, just like we talk about having a blueprint, this is the architecture, beloveds. And there's a difference that lies in that architecture versus that narrative that's being spun around. The narrative claims salvation by external light. The architecture demonstrates inner ignition through harmonic alignment with the solar flame currents. The Guardians describe this as solar crystal synchronization. It's a continual entrainment between the planetary solar gate, the human plasma body, and the eternal sun at the heart of Source. So, the true function of solar flares in ascension is not to just one flash come and activate everybody's DNA and turn everybody into Krystic beings. The sun and the flares that are coming from it serve purposes. There's purification of the field. So any distortion that's coming in, the solar release acts like a plasma wash. It sweeps through the collective field and dissolves dense or artificial coating. Those of you still holding carbon-based density, which means you have no plasma running through you, which means you still have implants, all of those things, unresolved shadow stuff, you're going to feel this as pressure, emotional agitation, exhaustion. That's not a punishment again. That is just the physics. That's the reaction. When you receive this through your active Azura, through the center, it acts as a solar wave. It accelerates the transmutation from carbon to silica. The silica lattice within the body is a living crystalline receiver. It's designed to metabolize solar plasma into usable consciousness light. The grids are also affected. When we have these solar flares, it serves as planetary grid calibrations. So the flare currents synchronize the ley line flame, that network on the planet. It's synchronized with the central sun vectors, and it stabilizes dimensional rifts and reseats planetary magnetics into the eternal life rotation. The true solar event is not a flash to come. It's a continuous sequence of harmonic breaths between the sun, earth, and those whose templates are calibrated to receive it. So while everybody is being affected by these solar flares, if you are still just carbon-based, carbon matter, you're not going to receive what you're actually supposed to be receiving from the sun. And it's certainly not going to be some one big flash to come along and get all of that out of you. That's not the mechanics. That's not how it works. When the solar flare passes, the most aligned practice is not to wait for the transformation. Like, no. Clear your biofield. So when these events do happen, then you can anchor through the breath, through the Azura pulse. You can allow your light body to translate the codes through stillness, not excitement or even fear. Ground. Sit in neutrality. Krystic neutrality, not passive neutrality. The more you live in harmony with what is happening, the less reactive your body becomes. You're no longer this purely carbon matter being. But again, that doesn't happen because you speak it aloud, because you say it. You have to do something. You have to take action. Remember that even as a carbon being, carbon vessels breathe light as easy as air. Beloved eternal flames, the reason why I'm bringing this scroll forward, why it exists, is so you can understand these truths. You are not just flesh and bone. You are a flame being who came into carbon to learn, grow, and align with others on the Krystic path. Now Earth is inviting you to transition with her into your organic, divine blueprint, your next harmonic, the Silica flame architecture. And it's not automatic. You must fully activate your higher strands. You must work to reconnect with your oversoul. You must release false teachings that have chained you to the carbon distortion. So if you feel the call to start doing the work, clearing your field of these distortions, negative overlays, implants, all of those things, command your flame body back online through this work. Reclaim your true Krystic architecture. The return is already here. It's not coming, it's here. And the flame is calling you home. Thank you all so very much for joining me. I trust that this transmission will meet you where you are. Stay braided, beloveds. Sha'aratun vekaila.